Fellow gamers, what do you want out of Territory War and Conqueror's Blade? Because I want war. Full on, full tilt, rage inducing, down to the wire, nail biting, epic, legendary, fucking fun. Memorable last stands, fighting in the shade, win or lose types of games. Like this one. So here's a clip from a guy from a channel called the IroncladLion. I'll link his video. Where he got his footage from. This guy's in the cohorts. This was in Season 7. This was one of the AI battles that they had, the epic defense of DOS Bulwark. This video, by the way, is pretty freaking epic. I advise everybody to watch it, but one thing to notice about this, everyone looks like they're having fun. Nobody worries about the random collection of units. They put up a strong defense, and these guys fended off. This fight goes on for a full 30 minutes of non-stop, one after the other. People just come in, they fight, they retreat, they bring in more units. This guy's running, look at that, green Iron Cap Arquebusier muskets, not even with purple doctrines. Fucking legend. But you know what? This guy's having fun, and he defends, and if you go through this video and this clip, and you take a look at who they're fighting, oh, they're fighting the Yellow Turbans. That big house that everybody was afraid to fight last season. There were 72 Yellow Turbans who loaded into this fight. That's right. 72. It was an overtime fight, so it went on for a while, but look at these guys. Epic defense, big fights, fighting for their freaking lives or their honor or their country, whatever the fuck you want. They were having fun. Big, nice, epic fights that happened last season. And why was the cohorts the only one getting fights like this? Now, maybe some people did get some fights like this, but I didn't get very many. I got 2 out of 12. What the fuck? What do I not want? Season 7. Let's just take a look at these house standings and see how ridiculous this got. In these standings, we have the top alliance, 3 houses, over 4 times the amount of influence as the next. And the next one down, oh, they were allied with those guys. They weren't even fighting the other guys. And then everyone else. Look at the breakdown of our fiefs, the total amount of land. And yes, land isn't everything. But half the time, people weren't even fighting against the biggest ones on the server. They were fighting the little guys, fighting amongst each other. There was a couple of good fights to be had, but most of them were boring. And the end of this season shows that. It wasn't even close. So I have a suggestion for all of us. Stop doing diplomacy. Yeah, that's it. Full stop. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Alright, if you're still here, let's take a look at this. This is the world map. This is the Season 7 end of the map. Do you guys notice maybe a particularly large amount of territory? And sure, at the end of the season, some people came back and fought back and took some pockets of land in a final last-ditch back-camp fight versus AI. Sure. But at the end of the day, this is what it was for most of the season. Do you not see a problem with this? Because there was something else that was happening last season. This is how the wars were being fought. Normally, I would expect a nice big fucking brawl, but no. We were all fighting at the diplomacy table, waiting for people to talk and discuss, well, I want to take this land, you get to have this one, I won't attack you for this part. So what does this result for the rest of us? Well, it's boring. Slow, long walks on the beach, over maps, because we had diplomacy, and we can't attack those guys. They're our friends. We need to band together. We need to work with our alliance, get our friends nearby. Let's be friends with this new house and put them next door, which means we now have to walk further to get to our next big fight. And then the drama, the silliness, the real or imagined grievances, just to give us a quote-unquote excuse to go crush that other house. Guys, it's a war game. You don't need an excuse. Just say, I want your land, I'm going to come take it. Shake hands afterwards, practice, improve, whatever. But it's more fun than this diplomacy nonsense. It's also less time-consuming. And one thing I can say for sure is that gamers are always going to be gamers. They're going to hold grudges forever, and y'all aren't going to merge. Too proud. Too much fucking perceived grievances between this guy. I don't like his style, and this guy talked over me one time. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all want to be chiefs. Y'all don't have enough Indians. We don't have enough of the foot soldiers. Just want to fight. Yeah, you need to have some good leaders and some good commanders, but too many of y'all, and y'all don't want to merge together, so that's not going to happen. But what if we can use this attitude that y'all are never going to grow out of and continue to be children about to everybody's advantage? Stop doing diplomacy, and let's explain how this is going to happen. Go to opposite ends of the map and continue to hate each other. Next time the season comes, you look at this map, you meet one time in a meeting and swallow your pride one time, just enough to say we're all going to split up to opposite ends of the map, and after that go back to hating each other the rest of the season. But what about the seasonal objective, you might ask? Yeah, sit down. Unless you're one of the big established houses that doesn't need me telling you what the fuck to do, this isn't you. You're new, and that's why you're here. So why the opposite ends of the map? Well, you don't have to talk to anybody after the initial meeting. You hate him, but he's far away. Don't fucking worry about him. Eventually, your borders will touch each other. Fight each other then. Everyone just fights everyone closest to them every war. This means you have to spend less time planning and coordinating the bigger scope of the war and doing these other strategies. Just coordinate with your house, get a good battle group together, build cohesion with your squad, figure out how to shot call, and then every game improve. This is actually better for everybody, the people you hate and the people you like. Why? Well, because if you're always fighting everybody that's next to you, you don't have to spend 20 minutes walking to get to the one guy that you hate on the other side of the map, passing over lands that are perfectly vulnerable, but no, you're friends with them. You can't touch that one. You now spend all this time walking. 20 minutes. This arrow indicates 20 minutes of time moving from one end of the map. 20 minutes is about the amount of time you have to try to defend or attack a thief. You're spending all that time walking, especially if you're moving with artillery and shit. You're going to move even slower. Even cavalry takes 22 minutes to move this distance. I timed it. So you're not improving. You're walking. And then you're getting fielded half the time. You don't actually get into the battle because other cav stacks are going to run over you to try to delay you, rightfully so. So now you spent the entire territory war walking and getting fielded. This isn't fun. Nobody's improving. So why does this help everybody? Well, here's a simple, silly question, but how many 5-year-olds can you take on in a fight? You're a big guy. I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure we know a lot of people who can take on a lot of 5-year-olds, but you can't take on that many, especially if they're not all bunched up together. If everybody bunches up together to try to work together with their friends and be close by, the one bully is going to be able to come back around and club you. And in this instance, the Yellow Turbans isn't a fucking bully. They've been trying to get people to fight them all fucking season. Nobody did. Oh, we don't want to fight them. We want to have diplomacy with them. Get the fuck out of here with that attitude. They were asking for people to fight them all goddamn season, so don't come at me with that shit. But if you guys are all bunched up together, it makes it easy for the bigger guy to come by and rotate and club you guys to death. Easy. You're all close together. They'll rotate with their cav stacks. They will out-rotate you. If you are spread out, and if everyone is on the opposite end of the map with the big guy, obviously, he's got more people, he's going to have more land, but now you guys are on opposite sides of each other. You don't need to coordinate. You don't need to work together. You just all need to attack the closest person at the same time. This results in a multi-front war. The big guy has to send people and personnel and divide his forces to be able to defend all of these fronts because you can't realistically move from one to the other in time. You can be running cav. Every one of these little blotches that I put down is roughly 22 minutes with cav. If you imagine if you're trying to move around with infantry and siege, you ain't getting there in time for the war. You have 1 hour. So this prevents them from out-rotating you. And you want that advantage. You don't want to face the full attention of the stack. Try to imagine this for a second. For over 2 seasons, these guys owned most of the server. That's a bunch of free silver, a bunch of free artillery, a bunch of free unit kits, and the average level is 1,350. 80 people per fucking house. 3 houses. You really want their full attention focused in one area? Yeah, sure, there might be 15 houses, but when you allow them to congregate 240 of these players in one frickin' region, you will be overrun. Force them to split up. You don't want their attention in one spot. You might say, well, I like working together with other people. I want to be friendly, and I'm always going to be friendly, and blah, blah, blah. Fine. Your friend can be on the other end of the map, though, and you don't need to coordinate your fucking fights. Everyone just agrees. They fight the nearest person near to them. And this is going to divide the attention of the big guy. You want to flank him. You don't want to come at him from the one side. If you all split up, some of you might go down, but if their attention is divided, everyone has a chance of getting a bigger piece of the pie. So yes, in this metaphor, you are the little 5-year-olds, and the season winners from the last 2 seasons are the big vet players. Split up. Fight them every time. You don't want that teenager to make peace with half of the other 5-year-olds. This is just going to let him focus on a couple of you, take your candy, and eventually come around and take your candy. Come on, everybody. Don't you all want some fucking candy? West server and East server, if you guys are listening. Let's make Season 8 better, please. Epic Wars. Don't do expeditions. Let's have some real fucking battles. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.